Some of the biggest mahashanooks that I've ever seen. They're like super long. My name is Hart, and I moved from North Carolina about 5 years ago to grow some food here in Florida. Now we're growing mangoes, bananas, anything you can think of. All the exotics. I've got some cool shit like monkey jack you've never even heard of. Bless up. He didn't go to college, I'm definitely not going to college. But my parents always wanted to send us to college, because spend the money for us to go to college, but we didn't want to go. So then eventually we were growing food for like, 2.5 years in North Carolina, just in our backyard, producing much abundance, given to the neighbors, given to the family, to the friends. So we figured like we wanted to start a farm, and we figured after watching tons of YouTube videos and eating some different tropical fruits that we wanted to move to South Florida. So our parents graciously bought us this 4-acre piece of land. So it's a blessing. Yeah, so grateful to be gifted this property. Without them, none of this would be possible. I'm fully off-grid, so solar power and everything. I got my solar panels over here, and the batteries are here for my shed. And I've got 2 sheds living here off-grid. These are called Namwa, and this one is about to flower for the first time here. Coconuts, Suriname cherry. This is a kwaimak. So this is a relative to a jackfruit. It'll produce a small fruit like this big. It's gonna taste like bubble gum. Bring it just over here. That's the little kwaimak flower there. It's a male flower, and it's only flowered male for me so far. They say it takes like 2 to 3 years to start flowering male and female. I got it from a Nona breeding project. Shout out to Eric and Marshall on Pine Island. Yeah, cool. They gave it to me as a little seedling. I got peanut butter fruit tucked in. I got mango seedlings, papaya, pineapple underneath. Actually got a really cool, this is coffee, a coffee Arabica. They flowered once a little bit, but it's just still very small now. Shampoo ginger everywhere. Shampoo. Smells like lavender. Put it in the hair. Oh, yeah. A lot of people will say it's like I plant things too close, but really I just let like whatever is gonna win, like win. They choose. The plants choose where they're gonna be, Nice jackfruit. I got my first jackfruit off of this year. Yeah. And I got a lot of these trees around. These are albizia, and I also use lucina, and then other nitrogen fixing trees. And the purpose of them is to provide shade in the initial, to like support my young fruit trees underneath, like the sugar apple. And then also they're nitrogen fixing, so they take nitrogen out of the atmosphere and fix it into the soil. And then when we chop and drop them, we're feeding our fruit trees. And that's the only way I fertilize, is just using chop and drop. Loquat here is reaching the top of that albizia, so soon I'll be pruning that albizia just to open up light for it to shoot. Just mimicking a forest for sure. Got a Valencia Pride mango here. This is the first time this one has ever fruited, this tree, this year. This one I just got this big from Craigslist 5 years ago. And these 2 trees here, this mango and this mango, were the first mangoes we planted on the farm. Popping pineapples in. This is like my pineapple row. I've got white jade down the middle, a bunch of yellows on the edges, some random sugar loaves mixed in. With some Hawaiian red turmeric on the edge. I got a big, what I believe to be venti coho banana right there. Nice little pineapple there. Gotta harvest this one soon. Pineapples everywhere. I love pineapples so much. I grow as many pineapples as I can. My hopes in a few years is to have just thousands, 10,000s of pineapple, Punta Gorda specifically used to be a pineapple, like a monoculture in the 1800s, yeah. Doing a little experimentation here. This was just like a seedling that came up from a random seedling mango, and I've grafted onto it in a bunch of different spots. So like over here I've got a Jahangir, Namdok Mai. This is a Glen. And then the rest of these over here are all cotton candy. I just did a little multi-graft tree. We'll see how it goes.
This is the first one you've done on the property?
Yeah, the one, the multi-graft, yeah. I've grafted like a few seedlings in ground, and I've done a bunch of grafting in pots and stuff. Yeah, just slowly over time, I've like formed these beds, and originally, all of everything you see here and here was just a big grass field 5 years ago. So it's just been over time forming the beds, planting the support species, all the nitrogen fixing trees and the bananas. It's crazy actually. I planted this tamarind, and in the summertime usually I've got flooding half up to my, and sometimes even up to my knees, like all through my pathways. But this one specifically, tamarind, I had no idea, but planted it last year or the year before when it got flooded like a foot, and it grew like 3 feet when it was flooded a foot. And there was literally water above the base of the root, like on the trunk. That's a swamp plant, they like that wet. And then we got the sunflower, obviously, you probably know that. Pure chop and drop. I planted this coconut from a sprout about 4.5 years ago now. So another year or two, maybe, we'll get some cocos, hopefully. It's not a dwarf or anything, so it's a tall one. Sugar apple, holding some fruit in there. See one up in there. This tree is about 4 or 5 years old too.
Grafted. Is that a seedling? Oh, grafted.
Grafted sugar apple, yeah. Just a green sugar apple. Got a pink guava. Got the bamboo. Going into my mandala garden here. I call this the mandala garden. And this is where I usually grow veggies in the winter. I got it all irrigated. And so in the summer now I'm just kind of transitioning it. This is the first year I'm not just like growing only turmeric in it. I'm starting to grow like papayas and bananas. Originally I was just veggies in here in the winter, turmeric in the summer. But okay, like I need shade for the veggies even in the winter. So like we need some papayas, we need some banana overstory. And then we can still come in the winter with the veggies energy. This is the ice cream bean here. Growing probably about 4 years from seed. So that'll be the main, just planted like right in the center. That'll be the main cover tree. Got a bunch of bananas planted, just popped them in. Still need to do some weeding and some mulching in here. Got a couple cherolatas around the farm, which is a really cool like hybrid of Annona. It's a cherimoya cross with a custard apple. And this one specifically is grafted onto the pond apple, which is our native, it's our native Annona. And so it can withstand flooding. You can plant it in a swamp. So here in the summer, usually I'm getting the flood up to here. So that's why I had to plant that or else, And this is like a good example of what I do to plant my trees out here because it floods so bad. So I have to like plant the tree high, and then I dig usually 1 or 2 holes to mound up the tree, and then I'll put compost and extra stuff on top, mulch, because it floods, like I said, a foot usually in the summer here. It could be a month to 3 months of flooding, so just gotta be prepared for it. And this is agroforestry. So in my agro, I've got three rows here. The first 3 rows are mangoes, and they're gonna be, every mango is a different variety. I got 17 varieties in the 3 rows. And then in between every mango is an ice cream bean. And right now the mangoes are young, small trees. Planted a year, they all got knocked back from hurricane, so I really had to replant after the hurricane about 2 years ago. But the ice cream beans have taken off. They flowered earlier this year but haven't set any fruit. So that'll be the first fruit set hopefully next year on the ice cream beans. And then down the midlines of each row. So I've got the rows, which are swales, because I've got each row is mounded. And then down the midlines, we've got sugarcane, banana, and eucalyptus. And eucalyptus is to provide that shade real quick and the biomass. Eventually, I'll just be chopping, dropping the eucalyptus solely to feed the plants. So the first 2 rows are mango, And then I got sapodilla rows, 2 sapodilla rows, and a couple other random rows. And here's a good example of what chop and drop I'm using is Napier grass. So this is a before of a row, and this is an after. I chopped all these rows 2 weeks ago, and this time of year I'm chopping the Napier grass, all of it, every 2 weeks, because it grows so fast. It grows 4 or 5 feet in 2 weeks. So I'm chopping it to feed these trees.
And you want that nice soft stuff that's gonna break down easy.
Definitely,
you know.
yeah. Like look,
this stuff will get thick, man.
It does. It gets caney. It's even starting to get somewhat caney already at like 4 or 5 feet. So it's a little late, but most of it is still just super nice green material, water rich. Just dripping water. I took like a little class from Jeff Lawton up in St. Augustine. It was just like a 2-hour Jeff Lawton class, and he was there. And one thing that stuck with me is he said, only chop and drop when the precipitation is greater than the evaporation. And that's like one thing that I've really noticed is, yeah, I mean, it's major key, because especially if you don't have that much material to work with, all of your material is precious. And here in Florida, if we're chop and dropping like this is a good example. I mean, I chopped when, you know, we got full sun all day today. So this sunflower here, a lot of these leaves are just gonna get cooked. They're just gonna get cooked, and they're just gonna, it's gonna evaporate, you know. It's gonna go straight to the sun. And a lot of it is not gonna be able to get broken down by the millipedes and get fed to the tree. So really it needs to be raining more than it's evaporating. Got the composting toilet system here, my little off-grid shower. Got a little heater to that as well. And then the well over there, but yeah, this is where we use the bathroom. It's got a fan. I just spin it. It's really nice. And then it's got a box at the bottom that I just empty it out, and it's basically dust. So it's getting spun, it's getting heated up with the fan constantly. It's the top of the fan over there.
And we got our toilet paper supply here.
Yeah.
Never run short on that.
I got infinite, all over the farm. I think I'm doing some grafting this year. Some mango grafting. This is an ice cream. We got Jahangir, and then these are Glen. We're having some good success, but always learning on the grafting. This is one thing you got to keep up with if you're grafting, is popping the suckers off from the rootstock. Yeah, a bunch of sugar apple seedlings, a couple random things that I get from friends. I love getting plants from friends. I try to treasure them, but here's a couple salak seedlings. Salak is a snake fruit. Okay. It's a really rare like palm fruit, and it's really doesn't grow here. It's zone 11, but it's gonna be tough to grow here. But I'm gonna give it a shot. And it's just like a crazy looking fruit with like a snake skin on it, and it tastes like a sweet, crunchy apple kind of.
Okay.
I've never had it really, but I've heard of it. And then this is acai palm seedlings. Got 2 of them. Stoked from that. We got some gambogi seedlings, which is the lemon mangosteen.
Okay.
Really sour. These are all lemon drop mangosteen seedlings. And I got some red Suriname cherries in the back, some black Suriname cherries, a bunch of random big trees, a bunch of random jackfruit seedlings, peanut butter fruit seedlings. These are all from seeds that I've harvested here on my farm. So look, that like F1 generation, you know, first generation seeds. Just grafted these Venus mangoes pushing, a couple random ones in the back, buttercream, diamond, and these are all lemon meringue. We got the yellow custard apples, coconuts, a bunch of coconuts, whatever size you need. Got some unique things like banana seedlings. So a seeded banana that I've gotten from somebody in Homestead, fully seeded, like if you eat it, you're crunching it. Bringing the wild genetics back, that's really important. And these are red custard apple seedlings as well.
And these will all be for sale to the public in the future. How can people get a hold of you?
Instagram at Hart Healthy Farm, Hart. Come buy some plants anytime.